All right, Shalom. I want to give all praises to Yahweh Ba'Shem, Yahweh Shah, Ba'Shem, Rachakodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well. Peace and salutations to the sincere Akim out there pushing the truth across the four corners of the earth. Uh, and real quick, just wanted to edify, all right, because we are coming into those times. The times is coming up. Even the time of the Passover is coming up. And that's when the Lord takes out the leaven of the body. And Lord willing, brothers want to keep their spirits as pure as possible. Especially around this time. All times, of course, but especially around this time. All right, and just jumping into more prophecy. This is the year of prophecy. This is the year where we have to make sure we proclaim all of the prophecies, all the things that are going to happen, because people are definitely watching. And once again, just like last year, the year started off with the mention of the Israelites. Or I think, matter of fact, that might have been late December or whatever. But you get what I'm saying. The year still flirted at the beginning with talk of the Israelites, and they're talking about anti blah blah blah, the anti S word. All right, because the last video I did, I was mentioning the royal family when I was just talking about some of the facts behind what's going on and the controversy, and them being split up, and that being a representation for the whole house of Esau. And YouTube took my video down. So I guess I got the spotlight on me now. I didn't think so, because I didn't have that many subscribers. But hey, that just goes to show, that the Prince of Power of the air is always watching. These Edomites are always watching. They watch the top brothers. Hey, they might be watching some of the younger brothers too. Seeing if we slip up, if we say something, they can jump on too. So we definitely got to be on point as well. All right, and it says, excuse me, 14 states sue to block Trump administration's food stamp cuts. 14 states, New York, D.C., Washington, D.C. are suing to block a recent Trump administration rule that would deny food stamps to about 700,000 poor adults. The new rule tightens work requirements for food stamp eligibility for able-bodied adults without children. The rule ignores that. So basically, if you don't have kids, they're starting to really cut people off. People who've been playing the system. They don't have kids. They don't have a lot of things that the money goes into. These Edomites are starting to tighten. They want to tighten things up. All right, and I know a lot of people who they base their life around that. They base their life, and that's considered being in the world as well. You base your whole life around Esau. There's nothing wrong with using the system. You can use it, but you got Jake, who their whole livelihood is based off of Esau, based off of basically Esau giving you a handout. I put it like that. All right, because we all have to go to Esau to receive payment, but you got Jake, who they don't want to work. They don't want to put in any work. They just want to just kind of sleep by while life goes on. And the Most High, he requires work from you. He requires you to go through fire. He requires you to bend yourself. Scriptures talk about making yourself a living sacrifice for the Most High. But if you have to use certain things like this, you might have to use it. All right, but the point being that Jake is that they're not making their situation. They're not using wisdom in their situation. They're not making their situation any easier. All right, and this is gonna help forward that destruction of this kingdom. All right, because once they, Lord willing, once they deny all these people these stamps, a lot of them are going to turn to crime. A lot of them are going to put pressure on people who do already have it. A lot of them are going to, put pressure on onto Esau. Like I said, crime. They're going to do all kind of stuff so they can try to get around, not having the that help. All right. because a lot of our people are in what's called food deserts. That means, you go to certain Jake neighborhoods, they might just have a Dollar General or $1 store, whatever it might be, or maybe it'll just be a McDonald's. But or maybe they do have a supermarket, but it's that real cheap one that only serves it's got a whole bunch of TV dinners and shit. It's nothing really fresh, not a lot of fresh produce to deal with, and that's ultimately because Esau designed it that way. All right, because a lot of those neighborhoods Esau used to live into, Jacob move in, and then they'll leave. All right, but let's let the scriptures talk, because this is a time, we're always watching, we're always waiting. We know what time it is. 2 Ezra 16:19. Behold, famine and plague, tribulation and anguish are sent as scourges for amendment. And that's the thing, man. To amend something means to change something. Like Esau has his amendments, to the law. He changes his own law. Well, all these things are sent as punishments for us to change, And Jake is not seeing that. Famine, plague, tribulation, and anguish. All these times of trouble, all of these things we're seeing, and it's so many of them. The Most High is allowing, because before you would only guess, damn, if shit is happening where I'm at, I can only imagine, what's going on in the rest of America, where Esau has to rule. But now you can see all that shit. Every time it's a police encounter, you can see it. Every time it's a bad accident, or somebody gets hit with a stray bullet, or you got a lot of Jakes who they they're in a completely just fucked up situation, either because of themselves or whatever the case may be. All of those situations are sent as scourges for amendment. Those things are sent for you to change. And the Lord will send us, if you have certain habits, the Lord will send certain situations and put His Spirit either on you or somebody around you, for amendment. But for all these things, they shall not turn from their wickedness, nor be always mindful of the scourges. Yeah. And the thing about it is, the thing you hear a lot that people say is what? Well, if it is a God, why we got to be in this situation? Why do we have to go through the things we go through? What? It can't. Why would God do this to us? And that's one of the main questions that we try to answer. Well, look, this is why He's doing it. This is who we are. This is the covenant that our fathers made thousands of years ago. This is the things that He said He would bless us with. This is the things He said that He would curse us with. And Jake still doesn't necessarily want to listen. That's why the Most High said He's going to destroy 2/3 of Israel. All right, so he has those times set up, and we're in those times right now. We're at the end of the end. I'll put it like that. Because the Lord, during the times of the Lord, that was like the beginning of the end. But now this is the end of the end. This is it. And when you look up the word famine, all you're going to get is prophecies, because that's one of the worst ways to die. We know that from, I believe that's Lamentations 4. I forget what verse it's at, but it talks about that. You having to suffer, having to, your body eating itself, running out of nutrients. You seeing shit, like you watch those old cartoons and they'll be in the desert, they'll see a mirage. It'll be some shit that's not really there. Your body starting to fail and your senses starting to fail, and that's one of the worst ways you can go. All right, and the Lord sends that as a plague on His people, and they're not seeing it. All right, and all these plagues that we read about, all the different prophets who are prophesying these different plagues, all these different, like it says, all these different scourges for amendment. Our people never consider, and the scripture says that too, our people never consider that, damn, man, those people in Israel, they ain't going through this. We're the only ones who are going through this. That's one of the ways we know that we're the Israelites, because of the punishments that are being placed upon us. All right, it says, "Behold, victuals," and this is one of my favorite verses. "Behold, victuals shall be so good, cheap upon earth, that they shall think themselves to be in good case, and even then shall evils grow upon earth, sword, famine, and great confusion." Yeah, and right now, the companies that are doing the best, is what your McDonald's, your Burger King, all these cheap ass places where you can buy things to eat. I pulled it up. Victual. Yeah, food usable by people. Provisions. Yep. And that's kind of the market. Ishmael, he comes with his tents. AKA he comes. He got the gas station, the corner store, your bodega. You can go in there. You can get a bag of chips for $1. You can get a big Arizona sweet tea for $1. You can get some quarter water. For $1. You can get or you can get the little one for a quarter. All the stuff that's set up. Just look around our kingdom. All the little stuff that's set up. All that stuff. A lot of that stuff is set up for Jake. The little bag of chips, the gummy worms, the soda. All of that stuff is prophecy. All right. Sometimes, they'll get fancy. They'll have, some cheap ass fried chicken, or some of that gas station grill food. The burgers, the hot dogs, whatever the case may be. Those victuals are cheap. So Jake is suffering. They're going through it. You could go in there. You could buy your Black and Milds, your blunt wraps, whatever the case. You could just kind of go into a little mental coma of using drugs and eating, and then everything is good. All right, you think everything's in a good case. It says what? "And even then shall evils grow upon earth, sword, famine, and great confusion." That's exactly what's going on. That great confusion, hey, in the media, is great confusion. Like with the Iran thing, brothers were talking about. First they said that we had no casualties. Then Iran reported, we had, I think they said 11 casualties. Now the U.S. is reporting, it's 10, 11 casualties now. So that's Esau's media doing a blackout on certain information. All right, and it is a multi-billion-dollar media war. All right, and as you can see, with the Israelites first, that war is first against us. All right, because with every organization or every belief or something, they at least get an interview. They at least get some kind of representation. They at least get somebody who can mediate and explain things. With the Israelites, we're just demonized. People, and they don't even give our correct title. You're just the Israelites. You're the black Hebrew Israelites. You're the black Israelites. No, we're just the Israelites, descendants of the Israelites of the Bible. All right, and we know, of course, that's gonna continue until the end, because hey, the devil hates the truth. The devil hates the scriptures. So the scriptures talk about that. When that persecution comes on you, to be thankful of it, because that means you're doing the work of the Lord. All right, and of course we know about the sword and the famine. Yeah, you keep seeing people get shot up, people get put to death. These spirits of vengeance, which are even more increasing. You keep seeing shootings, you keep seeing stabbings, killings, all this crazy shit. "For many of them that dwell upon earth shall perish of famine, and the other that escapes the hunger shall the sword destroy." So even if you do manage to, if you don't have that covering on you, even if you do manage to escape, and maybe stockade some stuff, you buy some MREs online, you buy this online, you buy that online. Esau, he's already got his shit. He already knows what's going down. That's why you YouTube it, those MREs, they'll sit there and they'll do reviews on them. See, yeah, this one is good, this one is not. You should buy this one. You should buy this kind of gun because it won't break down as easily. All of that stuff is Esau. Because they already know what's going on in their kingdom. But Jake doesn't know. And this is what's going to happen, man. The ones that escape that hunger, and even many of these Edomites who escape the hunger, the sword is going to destroy them. Shall the sword destroy? And the dead shall be cast out as dung, and there shall be no man to comfort them, for the earth shall be wasted, and the cities shall be cast down. Exactly. And you know, you look at a yard with a dog in it, he's just shitting everywhere. He's just shitting everywhere, and that's how bodies gonna. It's gonna be just random dead bodies, just all over the earth, and nobody. You're not gonna be able to bury them. All right, and the scriptures are clear about that, man. It says what? There shall be no man left to till the earth and to sow it. So it said the trees shall give fruit, and who shall gather them? Yeah. So it's gonna get crazy. And I think in another, I think that's Ecclesiastes. It talks about the almond tree will flourish. So you're gonna have things growing. You're gonna have certain things, but it's the destruction is gonna be so great, people won't be able to get to it. And all of this stuff is coming, man. And I just brought those scriptures up to say that these Edomites, they could try to block prophecy, because that's ultimately what they're trying to do. Especially in zones where they know it's a lot of Israelites, because they know we're gonna raise up hell. But you can't go against the prophecy. You can't go against the grain. All you can do is follow the Lord and pray for mercy. 14 U.S. states, along with New York City and Washington, D.C., are suing to block a new Trump administration rule that tightens work requirements for people on food stamps, arguing that the regulation ignores the labor issues facing poor Americans. Right, the rule will also lead to higher state costs due to hunger and higher healthcare expenditures, as well as from increased administrative burdens to handle the new regulation, the lawsuit alleges. The state and the cities allege that the new rule forces them to rely on overly broad, jobless data that ignores the realities of regions around the country where good-paying jobs can still be hard to come by, and that is true. All right, because a lot of places you still have Esau. They won't allow Jake to get in certain positions, which that's everywhere, but many places it's very, it's these Edomites are extremely hateful. Then you got the ones who pretend they'll play the game, maybe give you an entry position, but that's as far as you go. So, and they know that, they understand that. They see, so even out their own mouth, or they say, they condemn themselves. It ignores the realities of regions around the country where good paying jobs can still be hard to come by. So they kind of know, they know themselves, they know what the game is. It says the new rule doesn't apply to children or their parents, disabled Americans, or those over age 50. The food stamp program limits Americans to 3 months of benefits unless they're either working or in training, blah, blah, blah. So the point being that the crackdown is coming, and one of the people who's going to hit hardest, these young Israelite men who don't have, like you said, they don't have kids, or they're not disabled, they're able-bodied, and Lord willing, this be used as just like anything else that this devil does, this be used to further wake up the elect, or if they're already awoken, to continue to edify and build Israel up. It said the lawsuit argues that the new food stamp rule turns a blind eye to local labor market conditions. So this man knows he's the devil. He knows that his Edomite brothers, because that's ultimately what they acknowledge each other as, in their own mind, they're brother. They see each other, oh, that's another white man, so-called white man. They might be from a different country of origin, but they acknowledge each other in their head as, these are my people. All right, and that proves, it's not. That proves that race is a thing. Because when they see you, an Israelite, because we're the outsiders, we're from the outside looking in, right? And we can pick up on it. Right? And the apostle was talking about uh, basically all the racist stuff that was being said about Meghan Markle, even though her father is a so-called Edomite. So, hey, that's it, man. We can end it on that. You know, the scriptures talk about, I believe, I'm gonna close it on that too, because that's important. This is 2 Thessalonians 3:10. For even when we were with you, this we commanded you, that if any would not work, neither should he eat. And this is the thing they said. Look, you gotta work. You gotta put your work in. You gotta go to work. All right. And once again, like we've been saying, Esau reads the scriptures. He read GOP lawmaker. The Bible says if a man will not work, he shall not eat. Yeah, a lot of these Edomites, they're watching too. They're watching us too. They're watching, and they're watching these different news programs which mention us, or they'll teach the Bible in a certain way, and then they're taking these things and they'll apply them to, the house of Esau. They'll associate themselves with so-called Jewish people and biblical history, and Cesare Borgia, them being all of the same family. They'll associate themselves that way. So they'll take certain pieces of wisdom from the scriptures. All right, and that's what we're trying to get our people to do as well. This is real quick. One lawmaker is citing a godly reference to justify changes to exactly. And this is just what we were talking about. Snap is the same as WIC, EBT. It's all the same. So they're actually justifying it with that. Psalm 37 and 19. I'm going to end it off on these couple of scriptures. It says, they shall not be ashamed in the evil time, which is talking about the elect. Matter of fact, we start at verse 18. The Lord knoweth the days of the upright, and their inheritance shall be forever. They shall not be ashamed in the evil time, and the days of famine they shall be satisfied. But the wicked shall perish, and the enemies of the Lord shall be as the fat of lambs. They shall consume, into smoke shall they consume away. The wicked borroweth and pay not again. There you go. But the righteous showeth mercy and giveth. And that's exactly what the Lord is doing. He's showing mercy. And that's what he's having his servants, us doing. Show mercy and try to give our people the truth. All right. And like you said, man, they shall not be ashamed in the evil time. And there's many scriptures that back that up about how his servants are going to eat. All right. Call Allah Yahweh Yahweh Shah, Lord willing. This is edifying. And that famine is coming. The famine of the word, famine of this world. Namely here in America, that shit is coming. So we're expecting it. We're making ourselves ready for it. Call Allah Yahweh Yahweh Shah. Lord willing, is edifying. Shalom.